What's going on, everybody? My name is Arman, Vakili, and this is episode 6 of the Everything Money show, where we talk about everything that has to do with money. And so this is a continuation. This is a continuation of the last episode, which was the beginners episode for debt. Now we're going to talk about a little bit more advanced debt strategies and how to actually leverage debt to make more money, and when it would be a good time to go and borrow money, and then exactly what to do with that money to make more money. So, if you follow the advice of the last episode, which was get yourself out of debt first, like get rid of all the BS credit cards and all the BS loans, stack up some cash, like let's say 6 months worth of your expenses, a year's worth of your expenses, right? Maybe even a year and a half worth of your expenses. Like just stack up some cash, right? Save, increase your income, increase your cash flow, stack up your cash. Now, when you have some cash stacked up, even though technically currency is debt, all this different kind of stuff, I understand that. But when you have the cash stacked up, what it does is it allows you to go ahead and, if needed, so if you wanted to apply for a really big line of credit or a really big loan to make a major purchase, the bank is going to look at your assets. They're going to look at, first off, what your debt to income ratio is right now, which is why you needed to get out of debt because of that last episode. And then once your debt to income ratio is low enough, or if your debt to income ratio is maybe on a certain level that, it's kind of questionable, they're going to look at the second part of it, which is how much cash do you have saved up? What are your assets? And I know this from actually being in banking and being in the lending side of it and seeing how they underwrite people's loans. And the credit score, I feel like, is kind of like the last part of it all. So they want to look at, if I'm going to give you this money, if I'm going to give you this $500,000, are you going to be able to pay me back that money? Because I don't want to lose, right? I don't want to lose on that transaction. So the cash flow part of it is a big deal. The income side of it is a big deal. The cash, the cash reserves part of it is a big deal. Because if need be, if something, if shit hits the fan, are you going to be able to make the payments that you need to on that loan? So that's what they really want to know. So once you have this saved up, then you actually can go and apply for the loan, and most likely you're going to end up getting one. Now, I'm going to give you a few different ideas of what you would do with the loan money to actually be considered leveraging debt to make more money, right? So for example, let's say, and this is something that I heard from one of my friends who's in real estate. I don't specifically know the details of this, so don't quote me on it. If you know the details of it, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below, because I think this is actually a very interesting topic. But I've heard constant stories like this, that people go and they, through some kind of governmental program, they get a really, really low interest loan because it's their first home purchase, right? But what they do is that they buy some kind of income property, like let's say a 4-unit apartment building or a 5-10, something relatively small. And that loan, so they had the cash to buy the apartment building themselves, but they wanted to use the bank's money because, you need cash flow anyway. You need cash just in the bank just in case anyway. So they use the bank's money to make the purchase and actually buy the building. And then the building, because of the fact that it's an income generating building, is going to immediately start kicking in income. And in a perfect world, the rental income that you're collecting from your tenants in that building would not only pay your mortgage payment for the loan, but at the same time you might even get a little bit extra on top to actually cover taxes or whatever it may be at the end of the year, or maybe even put something extra in your bank account, right? So that's one part of it, where you can leverage some kind of a mortgage or a bank loan to buy an income property, so that you actually are generating income right away, and then you use the income from the income property to pay off the loan. You don't use it to go and ball in Vegas, right? That's the one part where I feel like people really get confused. The moment they buy their first property, they're like, oh, this is amazing and I'm doing well. And it's like, no. You have to first pay it off, so now you own this thing, this actual property that you bought. And then whatever income comes after that is going straight into your pocket because you've already paid the bank off. Does that make sense? So that's one version of it. Another version would be buying a car, right? And again, this is, I feel like, based on where you are in the regional, the geography part of it, buying a car, and I can't believe it. You know what? Hold on. I don't want to do this because it's going to keep going off, and I might as well just mute it. Or how do you mute it? There you go. There you go. The second part of it is buying a car. So you know how you can go and, when you're picking your car and whatever it is, they give you payment plans. You could either lease it and make monthly payments, or you could buy it and make monthly payments. If you buy it and make monthly payments, you put yourself in a situation where you can now develop the car, put money into the car, give it a custom paint job, put a body kit on it, carbon fiber hood, whatever it may be, like doing something to make the car increase in value, not just perceived value, but actual tangible value, because you're adding all these extra elements to it. And this is another reason why you need to have savings, right? You need to have money in your cash, in your bank account, because so when you go and you get the car on a payment plan, you're only gonna make like a $500 payment this month. But to actually develop the car and put money into the car, you need $5,000, whatever it may be. And let's say you go and you get a really nice BMW, and then you put $5,000 in even making it nicer, you know what I mean? And then you go find specific buyers, which there's a ton of them because they love cars and they have the money to buy another toy. So you go and you find that buyer, you sell the developed car, the new version of the car, let's say $15,000 above the price that you paid for it, $20,000 above the price that you paid for it, and then you go ahead and you take that lump sum that you got from this person, you go pay off the loan for the car, and then you have the extra money to pocket it. And then to kind of further advance that, I know people that they find buyers first, and then based on the personality of the buyer and what the buyer actually wants, they go buy the car and then customize the car so that it really fits them, and then they go ahead and sell the car to them. So really, really basic, right? But then again, you could do that with technically financing or borrowing money, right? So you're borrowing the money from the bank to start making payments on the car, you develop the car, you sell the car, you pocket the money, and then you go and you repeat the cycle. So that's the second piece that we had. The third example, I really love this one. This is actually one of my favorite ones because it's so practical and so it's really easy to set up. You could do it with very, very, very little money. You don't need to do it with a lot of money. So like really, really little money. You can set it up and then you can go find the lending money to amplify it, right? And it's direct response sales systems. So old school, prior to the internet, before the internet even came out, direct response systems were basically, we write a sales letter, right? So the most famous example that I can give you is the Wall Street Journal sales letter that it was just front and back, one page that they would mail out, and this letter would actually cause the reader to reach into their checkbook, write a check, and send the check to the Wall Street Journal and subscribe to them, right? And so you don't need a salesperson anymore because the letter is your salesperson. And so you send it out, and then if you send out 1,000 letters and you notice that you're getting subscriptions and you've actually made money, the only question at that point becomes, okay, well, how can we send out 100,000 letters? How can we send out 1,000,000 letters? Because the results are going to extrapolate exactly. They're going to amplify and they're going to magnify with the exact proportions of that first campaign, right? There's a lot of noise happening in the background. It's a really loud engine. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The mic can probably pick it up, but that's fine. So you go, and this was the old school version of direct response sales systems. The new school version of direct response sales systems is the internet and creating a website, and it's the same philosophy of creating a direct response sales website that does the selling for you, and then you generate your profit. Now, what's beautiful about doing the website version versus doing direct mail is that 1,000 letters, you have the cost of printing, then you have the cost of postage. And you have the risk of what if they don't even get any kind of a result for me. On the internet, you can make the edit at any time that you want. You press publish and it's live instantly. You can do that for free in a lot of cases. And you can test a lot of different ideas, and getting 1,000 eyeballs on your message is not going to be nearly as expensive as actually going and buying 1,000 letters and shipping those out. So I'm a really big fan of direct response sales systems. Now what happens is that sales system, that automated sales system, you put $20 into it, it cranks out $25 in sales. So you made a $5 profit. So meaning what? If I put $200 into it, then I'm going to get $250 return, $50 profit. If I put 2,000, I'll get 2,500, $500 return. If I put 20,000, so on and so forth. So if you know that in the small scale it's going to make money, then all you have to do at that point is find. Now typically in this situation, if you have bad credit or if you don't have any money stacked up or anything like this, you're not going to be very attractive to the traditional financial situation where you can go to a bank and they'll lend you money. Like you can't go to like a formal place. You typically have to find somebody called a hard money lender, which is it's just a really rich guy that you go and say, hey, listen, I'm willing to put my car as collateral if you give me $25,000 and this is what's going to happen. And so you're like, okay, fine, you sign the agreement, you put down your car as collateral. And so here's the thing, you have to have this successful system. You have to have the system that you've tested that is going to actually crank out sales. And then at that point, you just drive traffic to it using that $25,000, and then you pay off the hard money guy, you get your car, you're perfectly fine, and then you move on. And do I have another one? Yeah. So the last piece of it is like it was very similar to the third idea, which is just buying a fully systemized business on like with borrowed money, which would be, you know, franchising could kind of be that, like a really successful franchise that you know is going to make money. Then you can definitely go ahead and put yourself on a situation where you could leverage borrowed money to go ahead and buy the franchise and then use the income of the franchise to pay off the borrowed money, and then you officially own the franchise. So these are kind of the ideas for leveraging debt, right? So debt is not a bad thing. Not all debt is evil, not all debt is bad, and if you learn how to leverage it, I'm gonna wait for the loud motors to go by. If you learn how to leverage the debt, then what you can do is make more money on top of whatever you have, right? And so and you don't need to do it with $500,000 or $5 million. You could do it with 5,000. You could do it with 10,000. As long as you have one of these ideas established, and as long as you have something that you're going to do with that money. If you're going to use the money to go buy a depreciating asset, then it's stupid. You know what I mean? If you're going to use borrowed money to go buy a TV set, the moment you leave the store, it loses value. So it's a depreciating asset. It doesn't work like that. And the cars only work if you actually do it the way that I said to do it, which is you go buy the car and develop the car and then flip the car that way. Otherwise, I like being able to buy the car with cash. I like being able to, and if it's gonna be a humble car, and it's happened to me, I mean, like, I remember my first bucket and my second bucket. You know what I mean? If it's a humble car, as long as it's paid off, then I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about this monthly payment and getting charged 5-10% in interest for having a car. You know what I mean? And again, so these are extremes in philosophies. Not very many people are willing to willingly go ahead and drive a bucket to save money. And I was willing to do that, and I've put myself in a situation that I'm much better off for it. So it's totally up to you what you want to do with it. Completely up to you what you want to do with it. But my recommendation is you take the situation, you know, look at it, reprioritize a little bit, get yourself out of debt, and put yourself in a situation that you could actually leverage the money to make more money. So that was episode 6. I hope you enjoyed episode 6. Episode 6? This is episode 6? So I forgot. I hope you enjoyed episode 6, and I hope you shared with everybody that you know. I hope you shared with the random person that you met on the street that you have no idea what he is or what he does or all this different kind of stuff, but because of the fact that you think that the information is awesome, you're just going to go harass them, and you're going to be like, listen, you need to watch this video because I think you can use this. You don't have to do it that way, but if you do, maybe you can have your friend kind of record the entire process, because that would be really good content for us. I'm kind of being selfish with this right now. But in any case, I just hope you really enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel. All of my personal social media stuff is going to come up at the very end of the video. So if you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. I definitely encourage it. But in the worst case scenario, at the very least, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment so that I know what you're thinking. And if you have any questions about what we covered, so at least I can answer and clarify certain things for you, I'd be more than happy to do that for you as well. So my name is Arman Vakili. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 6 of the #EverythingMoney show. And